Okay. Before you freak out, I think I got it now. I think I figured it out. Check this. Party people, we gotta talk. Because it's been a while. Where was I? Well, I was kind of sick. And kind of under an avalanche of work, one might say. I had a lot to do. I had a lot to do for university. And I was really under the weather. So, my apologies for this delay. However, I think I got a good one for you now. We're going to change up the format a little bit, and we are going to do something crazy, something new, something exciting, in that this is more, it's less of a scripted video, and it's more of a off-the-cuff commentary, because we'll be discussing, well, myself and my experience. And I know, you read the title and you got really excited, and now you expect me to give you a shortcut to success, a shortcut to a profession which, at least over here where I'm studying, takes way too long. This ain't it. But I'll give you some advice. Before we jump into today's topic, though, I do believe I owe you an update. So, guess what? Guess who's got new merch? No, it's not me. Guess who's got new merch? Guess who has merch in the first place now? Yeah, that's right. It's our boy. Or over there. I'm not sure where I'm gonna... Well, you'll see it. Cool, huh? So, I guess, if you want to keep up with Keith and his crazy family, make sure to get your order in. There'll be a nice mug or a shirt or something. Fire. Today's topic is tea.
This is really lit, sis, that's the tea.
No, not that kind of tea. Not the drink either, no. Today we're going to be talking about teaching, evaluating, and assessing. Because that's what I have to do now. I have to self-assess myself. Well, I have to assess myself. Yeah, I have to assess myself for this course I took at university in order to become an English teacher. And I know, now you're saying, how can you call yourself a teacher if you're still studying? Well, actually, I am. I already teach, so go to hell, I guess. So, there'll be tea, there'll be self-assessment, and there'll be a title for this episode. It's double dipping. Welcome. I should probably start off by telling you what a T is and why is it important. Again, it stands for teaching, evaluating, and assessing, and if you've ever taken an exam, a test, took part in any kind of a language course where, there'll be a product at the end, at some point there will be an assessment. Somebody will have to assess your product, what you did, how you performed in that class. And because especially when it comes to language classes, language courses, language teaching, and language learning, a lot of that can be very subjective. So what we're trying to do at university, what I'm trying to do in taking these courses, what I learned in T, is there are graphs, there are charts, there are tables you can use in order to make that more transparent, make the entire process more transparent. And what we're doing is, well, at least we're supposed to be doing that as teachers, and I hope most of my colleagues do that. I do believe most of them do that, not all of them. All of them should do that because it's better. Is be transparent up front, right? At the beginning of the year, at the beginning of the semester, at the beginning of the class, be transparent about what it is that you're grading students on. Show them the scales, show them the way grading works, show them your point distribution system, and tell them where your emphasis is, right? What is valuable for you? What is valuable? What do you want your students to take away from this? So what did I expect to learn in this class? Well, I wanted to become a better assessor, right? I wanted to be more objective. I wanted to be able to be more transparent with my students. I wanted to be able to learn about approaches that would enable me to be that kind of teacher. And I think I did. I think that worked out perfectly. What helped me a lot was just a lot of exercises, right? A lot of grading. We did tons of grading exercises and having that instant feedback loop with my colleagues, with my professor. That helped a lot. Just being able to, it's oftentimes when it comes, this is a lesson about life in general. Whenever you want to get better at something, putting more and more hours into that is often beneficial. And it is in that case as well. The more you grade, the more you look at different texts from different students, different school forms, different school types, different years, different learning experiences, different approaches, different learning backgrounds. That's generally beneficial towards becoming a more objective assessor, a more objective evaluator of language performance. So I think that worked out. And I think that wraps up our introduction. Danny, is there anything else you wanted to say?
Yeet.
Cool.
Yes.
Now, when we take a closer look at my individual progress, the things that I specifically learned, the most important thing that I take away from this entire experience, this semester chock full of evaluating and assessing, is that I believe I was on the right track to begin with. So there was not, much of a delta in terms of I needed to be somewhere completely different. I don't believe I did. This is just not, based on the feedback I got. But I do believe that it is important to really remind yourself every time you look at a new text that you really want to be as objective as you can. Obviously, as humans, we always compare, right? At the end of a semester, you have this final product. There's like a stack of 30 papers, something like that. And you're not supposed to compare them to each other, right? Every student's individual performance should be evaluated as standing on its own, and really getting into the habit of just, from the very beginning, not try to compare performances to you're going to end up with a lot of texts that sound very samey, that are obviously about the same topic. Their styles might be very comparable, but you're not supposed to compare them. You're just supposed to evaluate them on their own. So really trying to be as objective as you can, and from the get-go, try to not even subconsciously compare them. I think that's the biggest takeaway, as well as the different scales and the different tables that we were provided with. Those, I'm going to show you one of them right now. Those really helped, and getting more and more familiar with them. Actually, within this course, there's this deep dive into these tables and the individual bands, what they mean, and really try to fill them with meaning for yourself, so you would better understand them and make them, second nature in a way. That was really important for me, and that really helped me, and I think that's the biggest takeaway from this course. On the other end of the spectrum, obviously, I should ask myself, what was the least important thing that I took away from this class, the least important thing that I learned in this course, the least important thing that I take away? Well, you see, teaching, evaluating, and assessing is not the only course of its nature at university. So a lot of things there were kind of repetitive. There was also teaching language skills 1 and 2, and those already focused on certain aspects that came back in T. However, I very much appreciated being so fortunate that I realized that, and then I could just repeat things that when you go over them for the first time, you may not be able to create that second natureness that I alluded to earlier. And I think it's really important that this, especially when it comes to being objective, exercises everything, and being able to repeat those concepts and realizing all the logic that's behind that, and why certain things are more important than others, and why assessing in relationship to a objective table that was set beforehand, that you made available beforehand, why that is so important. So there were things in this course that I already kind of knew. However, so in that sense, they were least important to me because I should have known them. I did know them, but repeating them was a nice exercise, and I really appreciated that. So that was really good. Whoa. Now, did anything change over the course of this course? In terms of my attitude, my way of looking at things when it comes to testing and assessing English? And I think the answer to that is probably not. My attitude towards teaching in general is not that I show up every morning, or I get up in the morning with that feeling of wanting to punish children. That is not what I do. I, as a teacher, do not see my role in society as someone who's there to prevent, people from progressing in their academic careers. It's quite the opposite. I want to enable, and I want to be an enabler. It is crucially important to me that while I get why assessing is so important, and why feedback especially is so important, way more important to me than the actual assessment, right? Being able to tell your students why certain things don't work for them, why certain things need a revision, for example, why they need to focus on certain individual skills that they might be lacking in. All of that is something that is really important to me, and in my self-view as a teacher. So I don't believe my attitude changed much. I do believe that I now believe that it is more important than I previously thought when it comes to transparency, right? Being transparent from the get-go, that is super important, and really showing people, because people might not learn, might not study, might not come into my classroom with the same attitude I come in, which is perfectly normal and perfectly fine. It's my job, and my students are just expected to be there, right? So even if I personally would not need that degree of transparency, I don't need to know the individual scales. I don't need to know how those points work. For some students, that might be super important. So being really transparent, being upfront, and being able to cater to different learning styles, I think that's really important, and that's one thing that I would really like to take away from this experience, right? Obviously, this being a self-assessment, we do have to talk about my personal, individual course performance and the things that happened in class when it comes to all of the exercises we did and the assessment products we were supposed to hand in. I do believe there was sort of a hiccup during the course of the semester, because usually it is like that. You start a semester and then you get you either be assigned a group to work on assessment products, or you'll be able to, pick the people you want to work with, right? We're so far ahead in our studies, and the English department, obviously over time, the people in your year, the number is just getting smaller and smaller. So at this point, we basically all know each other, and we basically all know who we want to work with or who we do not want to work with. While I was very happy in the beginning to just be assigned people and make do with what I get, this time around I was able to work with my friends, which I really enjoyed for this assessment product 1. However, after that, we were then randomly assigned new group members, which, for what we did, for the second assessment product, we were supposed to do a voiceover PowerPoint presentation, which again, I do believe the group I was assigned to, we did very well. I think the way we worked together was fine. We met way in advance. We organized meetings beforehand, outside of scheduled this group working activity that we often do. Outside of that, we had a WhatsApp group, for example. We met on Zoom. We talked about these things, talked about these concepts, talked about our ideas, and especially talked about that particular text we were assigned, because we were supposed to grade that, to discuss that with each other, and really get this assessor experience, which you would then have eventually if you became an assessor for the Matura, which is the highest school degree you can get in Austria. Your school diploma, your high school diploma, it's different in America. Anyway, I do believe that for the APs, all the assessment products I handed in, we did good. We worked together well. However, I would have enjoyed to just stay with my group that I originally planned to do all these products with, because I really enjoy working with them, and because they're cool people, because they're my friends, right? However, there was, as I mentioned before, this hiccup, and where it was necessary, I do believe, to reshuffle all those groups, was my favorite thing though. And I just wanted to mention that because I think that's part of that. I could have done better if that didn't happen, but that was outside of all of our, realm of immediate action, I guess. Now, talking about my personal strength, what I believe to be my strengths, or what I, hear, because, I do believe in feedback, as I said earlier, even, at any stage of your career. If you're a student, if you're a teacher, if you finally retired, there's always valuable feedback to be gained whenever you're talking to people, whenever you're actually listening to people and listen to the things they have to say. You don't have to take everything to heart, but you should at least listen, because there's always, at least a grain of truth in anything, in any form of feedback, right? I do believe that I have another assessment product that another professor signed, and it says from this semester, and it says on there I have excellent presentation skills, and I have a YouTube channel, so I think there's some truth to that. And I do believe that whenever we do these kinds of assessment products, where you can perform, where you get to entertain, where you get to produce free speech, I do excel at that, I think. I do think that my written stuff is just as excellent. But this I really enjoy. This is, again, keeping my background, my theater background in mind. I think this is just something that I'm good at, that I like to do, and something that very well contributes towards my career as a future YouTuber, as a teacher. So yeah, that's that. And I do believe that I'm a strong communicator. I do believe that I can enable others to go the extra mile. I do believe that I can talk people into doing things in a way that is not unlike the way they initially intended to do things, but just get the most out of it, right? Do your best work, I hope. At the same time, I can be incredibly impatient. I can be very pushy. I can be a lot to certain people. Most people, after getting to know me, realize that I'm not a bad guy, and I don't want anything bad for you, or I don't want you to excel. I really do. But I can be a lot, and I do believe that at this point in our respective academic careers, we already know each other well enough, so my colleagues know how to work with me, and I know how to work with them. So I do think that we benefit from each other, as in terms of group dynamics, as far as those things go. And I do believe that there is, in addition to that, and when I say I can be impatient, in general, I would argue that is something that could be worked on. However, I want to very much stress I am not impatient with children or teenagers or students in general. It's just my colleagues where I sometimes lose it. But that happens to the best of us. So I don't necessarily believe that's something that I really have to work on in terms of becoming a teacher or being a teacher. So especially not when it comes to assessing and evaluating. Reading texts don't make me impatient at all. I am somewhat of a perfectionist, and in the way you work with me, that is often can be a problem if it is a problem for other people. However, I do believe that we should all strive to do our very best. Otherwise, what's the point in even trying? And I do believe that I try to enable my students to view the world my way, that way, without pushing that on them, right? So, other than that, I think I did good in this course overall. So, let's just move on to the conclusion.
Let's get it.
Seriously, Danny, no. Fuck off.
Low-key.
So what's next? Where could I go from here? Well, I think I'm heading in the same direction I was heading in before. I just signed my second contract for another semester of actual teaching at an actual school. So I do believe that I'm doing well. I do believe that I'm moving in the right direction. I do believe that in terms of assessing, I will take all of these things to heart, and I will be as transparent as one can be in my future communications when it comes to telling people about the way I will be evaluating them. I will stress that these 4 pillars when it comes to T, task achievement, coherence and cohesion, grammar, vocabulary. I will be letting my students know that these will all be part of the evaluation process when it comes to their products, to their written products, or their spoken products are being assessed a little differently. But yeah, I do believe that I'm heading in the right direction. If one were to ask oneself how this knowledge I gained will impact my future career, then I would say that I think this was an invaluable experience. I do believe that as teachers it is important to know, about this legal background, die Bildungsstandardsverordnungen and whatever it is that's in the Lehrplan. These things are super important and super helpful. And to be able to, take a step back and realize, okay, whatever I thought was in there is actually not really in there. And the state, the ministry, they both give you so much opportunity to find your own way of teaching. But when it comes to assessing and evaluating, we want to be on the same page. Me and my colleagues, we shouldn't be doing different things, or vastly different things. We should try to be on the same page when it comes to evaluating and assessing. So I do believe that using scales, using tables, using charts, and being open about them, telling not just our students but also our colleagues about them and the way we handle things. I think sharing that knowledge, that is key. And as I said, transparency is super important in education. So I will try to integrate that into my everyday teaching routine, life, whatever you want to call it, as much as I possibly can. Yeah, that about wraps it up. However, I am supposed to grade myself for, I think, this product and maybe the course overall. But I would like to outsource that, right? In the comments, just let me know what grade you would give me for this video, what grade you would want my professor to jot down at the end of the semester. I would give myself an A, to be perfectly honest. That was, I do believe I made some valuable points and contributions towards this, and I do believe this course in general. Also, be nice in the comments. Say hi to my professor and tell him what a good boy I was, always been. And maybe you'll watch another video. Subscribe, like, share, and I guess that's a wrap. Until next time. See ya! Welcome to my ant card. This is just a hangout. Yeah, I'm a crank that shit. Bro, that's so damn loud. It's nothing but a little intermission. Enjoy these soothing bars of utter indecision. Buddy people, you can trust me. It's an ant card. I know all those fire jokes and get you saying hard. It's an ant card. The shit ain't some voodoo, bro. I know you want to stay, but it's time for you to go.